And I remember that very first race, I met a guy. He was a fireman in Massachusetts, and real in shape and good, wife, kids, and then his family was killed in a car accident.
Oh my God.
And his whole world obviously shut down that day. Started putting on weight and just kind of leading to bigger issues and drinking. And he said he saw an advertisement for this Bone Frog race, this Navy SEAL obstacle course race. And that was his kind of step in the right direction of coming back to it.
Wow.
So he came to the race, and he had a team of firemen that he worked with. He made it through and come across the finish line. He's crying. He's got guys with him. It was very emotional. It was instantaneous that I saw this, and it took me on a new path. Like, wow, the racers, this is what it's all about in these inspirational stories and doing it for the people.
So it's about 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm in Vegas. This is how some of the best stories start. In this particular case, I meet this guy, Brian. Turns out he's from an hour away and is one of the most patriotic men I've ever met in my life. So, brother, let's dive right into it. Let's talk a little bit about you and your background.
Yep. Like I said, Brian Carney. I'm from Deerfield, Mass. I was actually a police officer back when I was 18 for only a summer, and then went right into the Navy. And did 13 years in the Navy and was a SEAL for most of that time. Got out and started my own company, which is called Bone Frog. It's the world's only Navy SEAL obstacle course race, and that's what I'm doing now.
That's awesome. So first of all, why? Why the transition from being on the teams to doing what you're doing now?
Well, in the teams, I stayed active on a team for pretty much my entire time. I came in 2000, and with obviously everything going on, I just stayed for 7 tours straight. I loved it. I was single, young, a lot of work going on, and just kept on doing it. And then we were actually the last SEAL team where the whole team deployed to Afghanistan. After that, they started breaking it up. It was, individual heres or smaller platoons, but it wasn't the whole team went over. And at that point, my options were to sign up for another, say, 6 years or whatnot, would have ended my time in the Navy, or I decided to, kind of punch the ticket. I missed it every single day. I missed the guys most, and then just the camaraderie you get from the military, you can't match that anywhere else. But that's why I started my company now, which is the Navy SEAL obstacle course race. And the intention behind that is if I can hire on a lot of my buddies from the SEAL teams, kind of feels like still got one foot in the community a little bit.
Sure.
Right now I have other SEALs I work with on our staff, and we're traveling around putting these events on. And although we don't have guns in our hands and we're not going overseas, it's about as close as I could kind of replicate, I guess, in a way. So,
what does the race look like?
So there's a 3 mile, a 6 mile, and a 9 mile option, and the obstacles are what sets us apart from all the other races out there. Is obviously the military authenticity, but we're trying to replicate SEAL obstacles. So the same style obstacles that we trained on to become SEALs, or even while we were SEALs, on the bases and whatnot. And we train on these obstacle courses all around the world. We go over to different countries and train with those forces, and we'll train on their courses and whatnot. So, at other events that are similar to what we do as far as an obstacle course race, they might have slip and slides or electric, wires coming down or fire jumps. You don't find those in our course because that's the whole thing. If we didn't, if someone's like, what in the SEAL training did you guys go down a bubbly slip and slide? Like, well, no, so I can't really have that.
If you got electrocuted in the teams, you had a bigger problem.
Exactly. Yeah, or just messing around with stuff we probably shouldn't have been anyways.
Let's talk a little bit about your background in service. Typically what we do, talk good day, bad day. Any particular memories that jump out on either side to you?
They're all good days. I love the military. I love the guys I work with. SEAL teams are absolutely incredible. Bad days, things happen downrange. I remember one that just sticks out to me, I guess. is we were deploying to Afghanistan, and you always, for us, we relieve, like a SEAL team's there before us, and say they're doing the 6 or 9 month deployment before we get there. So whoever's there before us, we'll stay really close with them. We'll do kind of weekly conferences, how's it over there, what's going on, to basically keep us up to speed on everything. And we were just about to deploy, maybe like a month out from deploying, and from where my platoon was going, one of the SEALs got killed. When we met with the crew that we were relieving, they said to us, make sure you go up there to the guys that said all that, and put some focus up there, I guess. So we're about 3 weeks into the deployment, and we started heading up to that village where this whole thing happened. It was just IED central. We were on one main road. We found and blew up like 19 IEDs just getting up to the village. And then we start getting closer to where we're supposed to be, and right up ahead of us was the kid who was killed. His name's Caleb Nelson. So I was in the lead vehicle, and one of my EOD techs was right behind me, and he said, why don't we get out on foot, just you and me, and start wanding the road from here, because it's already been kind of a rough road, hit 19 of these things. We're kind of expecting it to get even hairier. We get out in front of the vehicle, and he starts wanding the road, and then I'm walking behind him. I'm kind of his security. So he's walking away from the vehicle up the road for cell phone IEDs. So someone called in to set up an IED. We have these devices on the vehicles that kind of jam those signals. So if we were right over one and someone's trying to call in by a cell phone, it wouldn't go off. But that bubble only lasts so much. And I realized we're getting really close to that, say, 50-meter or 50-foot barrier. And I said, hey, Scott, should we bring the vehicles up so we stay within the jammer distance? He's like, oh, yeah, wave them up. So I turned around and waved at the vehicle. They see me, and I turned back to Scott, and almost instantly, as soon as the engine started revving up to go, boom, that's the last thing I kind of remember. They hit a 500-pound IED. They were right on top of it.
Oh, my God.
And it launched me into basically my hips hit the back of Scott's head, and then we both went flying. We went about 20, 30 feet, some of that thing. And we were both shell-shocked. I was knocked out for a little bit. I came to completely, no idea where I am type thing. Scott's kind of the same way. He was maybe 15 feet ahead of me, I'd say. And he was a little more cognizant of what's going on. And he's yelling, but I couldn't hear because my eardrums were all messed up. And he's like, don't move. And I'm just seeing, you can imagine this is like blurry and haywire, and I'm having a hard time understanding what's going on. He's yelling, don't move, but I can't kind of make out. And finally, it started coming back. When you lose your hearing like that, when it comes back, kind of rushes back. It came rushing back, and he's screaming, and it's still stuff raining down on us from the explosion. He's like, we're in a minefield. And so it blew us into a minefield.
Oh, my God.
These things are everywhere. And he's like, we could be standing on top of them right now, but don't move. So now EOD guys from like half a mile back, they were in other vehicles and whatnot down the line. They're trying to run up to us and then clear to us. And they're finding IEDs everywhere, all around us, but kind of clear them, find it, mark it, move, find it, and basically make a little path for us.
With the guys who were in the vehicle, did they make it?
Yeah. Yep. No one got hurt in that vehicle. I got a pretty massive TBI, traumatic brain injury, out of it. Me and Scott were both rocked pretty good. Remember, I have a picture of me standing in a crater, and almost my head is at the ground level. That's how far down. And it was a couple of months later, Scott, he was bringing a vehicle in to this place we were going, and he had a clear spot for where the vehicles would park for us to get out. So they're clearing the area, and he already cleared it. And then the vehicle pulled up, hit a massive IED. Something came off, like the tire came off, it just ripped his lower leg almost clean off.
Oh my God.
It was hanging, and they didn't do surgery, but it's basically missing all like the calf and everything. But that whole deployment was kind of all like that.
So when you think about Bone Frog now, you mentioned the camaraderie among guys who are working together to put these on, but I have to imagine there's the other side of camaraderie, which is the people who are taking part in it.
Of course.
So let's talk a little bit about how it's grown and expanded and people can learn more and take part.
Yeah, I mean, the first race we ever did was in September of 2013. And we had no money, and we had maybe 300 racers.
Wow.
And we had a lot of SEALs there, a lot of support from the guys. People start coming to the race and start talking to the racers. And I remember that very first race, I met a guy. He was a fireman in Massachusetts, and real in shape and good, wife, kids. And then his family was killed in a car accident.
Oh my God.
And his whole world obviously shut down that day. And started putting on weight and just kind of leading to bigger issues and drinking and stuff like that. And down the line now, he went from like 170 pounds up to 300 pounds and lost his job at the fire department because, more of a liability than anything else. And he said he saw an advertisement for this Bone Frog race, this Navy SEAL obstacle course race. And that was his kind of step in the right direction of coming back to it.
Wow.
So he came to the race, and he had a team of firemen that he worked with. He made it through, and come across the finish line. He's crying. He's got guys with him. It was very emotional, and it was my first race. And I had nothing. I started this, a little bit for myself to be trying to find a business that I could work with other SEALs. But then it was instantaneous that I saw this, and it took me on a new path. Like, wow, the racers, this is what it's all about in these inspirational stories and doing it for the people. And now we've done probably over 70 races through the years.
Wow.
And there's, too many stories to bring up. And that's why I do it now. I mean, that's the motivation. If I can do that and work with guys that, I know from the military, it's an absolute win-win. In the business itself, from where I originally started 6 years ago, and if you asked me then, where are you going to go with the business, or what do you want to do, or what's your ambitions, what's your 5-year plan for the business, and to where we are now, it's changed so many times.
Sure.
And it's really been driven by the racers themselves. So it's been great. But now we're out of New England, obviously.
Yep.
That's where we started the races. And when we started to go on the road and expand, we went kind of down the East Coast. So now we have events all the way from Buffalo, New York, all the way down to Florida.
Awesome.
And now we're pushing west, as far west as Texas. But where we're going and where we're trying to take the company has become a national company.
So people who want to race, how can they learn more?
bonefrogchallenge.com.
Awesome.
You just go to there and has all the information about the different races, the different distances, and it just brings it to the event that you're interested in doing.
Well, I think we'll have to strap some GoPros on some of our guys and send them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You got to try it out. Even we have a kids course and everything, so it's really for all walks of life.
I'll do that one.
Yeah, exactly. Scale down obstacle. They don't get a beer at the finish though.
That's okay. I'll pass on the beer for the kids course.
But that's why we have the different distances from the 3, the 6, the 9.
Awesome.
Is that what is this? I've never done a race like this, or I'm not a big runner. We'll try the 3 mile, and then at the finish line you can say, wow, I could have done more.
Sure.
Maybe next time I'll do the longer one and kind of keep going.
Awesome. Brother, thank you so much for coming out, man. Guys, I highly encourage you to go check out the site, sign up for a race, even just go take part in it. But as always, thank you all for watching. Thanks for sharing. God bless America.
Thank you.